Hi and welcome to the Pinecone tutorial. This is the second in our festive tutorials. So I've already sorted out the line art, and again there's instructions for you to do that in the PDF. I've basically transferred it with this transfer paper, okay, and I've just gone over it with a colour pencil just to get everything down. So you can get this transfer paper online, but like I said, I think it was in the Fox Eye tutorial. All you need to do is just colour with a graphite pencil quite heavily on the back, flip it over, and then draw your outline, and it will come out like that. And I can see, I think I've got a slight bit missing on there, so I'm just gonna sort of pencil, actually just sharpen that, but I just want to go in with the Van Dyke brown and just come in just along there roughly. Okay, that makes it a bit more complete. Right, so we're back on the white pastel mat, so going to be lots of layers. And what I want to do to start with, I'm going to be working from the bottom and going up to the top, and I just want to double check that I've got everything in around here as well, so that there's a line that's coming in around there. Just double check. Oh yeah, there's a bit there as well. And then we've got that one, and that's coming down there and there. So I always like to do this because, you know, it's I've got that one there. It's easy to sort of miss it when you're you're sort of transferring it over. So we've got that one, and then there's a bit sort of coming in behind it, and we've got that bit, actually it sort of curves around that bit. Okay, I think we can crack on with it now. So yeah, so what we're going to do is, like I said, start at the bottom, and then we're going to sort of work in the dark shadows and then sort of gradually come out. So I'm going to go in with the dark sepia, and so I just want to start here. The same circular movement with the pencil that we did previously. And I'm going to work on doing the darker shadows just all around here really. So I've got that one there. It's just, again, it's all about marking our colours. And again, I've got my glassine paper here so I don't rub off any of the line art. And marking out the deeper shadows like this is, you know, a good way of sort of plotting it, and it'll give you like a really good outline of where your dark, you know, where your tonal values are. So these are like smaller areas, so the actual tooth of the paper will fill up quite quick. And what we can also do is in the darkest part of the shadow we can go in with the black, but we'll do that once we've finished adding this in. So at the moment it's you know, it looks quite sort of straight and uniform where we're finishing it, but what's going to happen is when we add our other browns, you'll sort of see what we'll do is we'll be blending it. So the with the adding the dark shadows in, we'll be doing that for the whole of the fir cone, and then what we'll do is once that's all added in, then we'll go through each bit at a time and complete it. This just makes it easier to sort of complete it all in one go, and then we know where we're at with the drawing then. So I'm not sort of going in very heavy with it. I've got my hand further up the pencil. I'm just sort of going back over and, you know, back and forth over that small surface, just to what that does is then sort of fills the layers up a lot more quicker, and hides the tooth better. Right, so I've got that one, I've got that, so around there. Sometimes I find it helps to talk out loud to myself, just so that I know, you know, I can get things right. Okay. So you can see it's right down here is where it's going to be the dark, you know, the darkest. So we've got that. So this one's a lot more darker around this part. Okay, so we'll just very light layer there, and then what we'll do is we'll go in and add another brown on top of it. Okay, and we've got that and that, so that's that one. And okay, so under there it's darker. Once we have the shadows all figured out, then I think that's the hardest part done then. And we're down there, so that one, okay, that one's quite dark coming through there. And of course at the end we'll do a darker shadow underneath there, so it doesn't look like it's floating in, you know, in air. Right. So this one above is quite dark around here. So of course you've got a round one there, so that bit there is going to be dark. I am going to go over that in a minute, but I just want to capture this part. One is darker in there. But it also means you've got that one coming down that way, but that one's coming over that way. Okay, so we've done that one, Okay, I'm going to swap out the dark sepia and go in with the walnut brown. Right. So that's missing that bit there. Okay. Okay, so that one's darker down there. So of course you can see the walnut brown is a sort of warmer sort of colour. Let me just zoom in to sort of see if you can see that a bit better. Okay, let's just get that into a bit of focus a bit more. Let's just get in the sweet spot. There we go. Right. So that's got a bit that's coming round there. Okay. So that one. So that's the one we're working on. So we've got that one in there. It's also, looks like it's got some caput mortuum in there, so I am going to grab that out. It's when you it's not until you sort of start working on it and you can sort of suddenly sort of see these different colours, and now I can see sort of up closer that I can see some really warm sort of burgundy browny colours. Maybe I might even try the caput mortuum violet. Let me just get both out. Yeah, and I'll see which one I actually think is going to be the best one when we get round to it. Right, so got that one, and coming down the side there, alright, just bear with me, and I can sort of see, right, that's that one there. So that one under there, it's coming out down there, but it's also got that warmer part to there. So I'm just going to mark that one out with a caput mortuum. It does make sense once, you know, once we add more of the colours in. Right, okay. What it is showing me that it sort of comes down there. That's it, and that bit in there is darker. There we go, got it now. And that, so this bit here is the one that you can see for this part. Right, so this part here, so we are dark actually on this one. This one's actually quite dark here. And then of course it comes around there. Let's get the dark sepia. That's better. I can actually, when I look at the screen whilst I'm filming, I can actually see it better. Okay, right. Right, that's it. Okay. Right, I'm just going to check the difference between the caput mortuum, which is a warm brown, and the caput mortuum violet is a slightly darker shade of that colour. So up here, this is the Caput Mortuum Violet. So up here, this is where it curves round. So this one, right. Just gonna lightly mark that one. That big one there, that one there. So that one, oh yeah, that's the one that's kind of like blurred. Okay, that one. So these look quite dark on their own, but when they're actually on top of other colours as well, they do lighten up. But we'll also be lightening up, like when we add our cold grey ones and our whites on there as well. But this is just purely a marking out exercise. Okay, that's that. Coming, actually I'll go back in with the, just going to sharpen this walnut brown a moment. Oh no. Oh. Right, let's try and sharpen it with my manual sharpener, because I think the lead's got stuck in the electric one. No, that one's breaking as well. Right, let's just see what we can do here. If not, I've got plenty of spare ones hanging around. Ah yeah, that'll do. Okay, right. So that one comes in and around there. And it's got a darker piece in the middle. And then let's go in with the warmer part of the Caput Mortuum. And then the walnut brown coming down here. Okay, so that one there has got that one coming out. So this is dark around that part, dark around that bit, and then it's got a darker shadow coming up. So these ones here, once we've added the darker layers in, what will happen is, because these have got snow on them, is we will add that in with our lighter colours. That coming down. Okay. So I think we're doing okay with this so far. I mean, this is definitely the slower part of the process, just sort of like blocking out our colours and just getting the actual structure right. And then once we've done that, then we can sort of, you know, we can move on. So again, it just goes through that phase where it just looks ugly, but you know, it all works itself out. Right, so just going to go in with the caput mortuum around here. This part here is quite light, but it sort of comes in that way. And so let's go in with the caput mortuum violet. And then the dark sepia in there. So that's that. And then that piece underneath there, that's quite light again. And I'm just going to mark that out. So we got that. Right. Walnut brown. And that bit there is dark. So we've got, again, in that middle part there, it's sort of, it's dark. So just along here. Right, how are we doing at the top there? So I'm just going to mark a little bit in with the caput mortuum, just so I know where we're going to be adding the first lot of colour. We've got a little bit there. Okay, that bit there has got right. Before we go any further on this, then I think it's probably about time that we started building up from around here. So that part is, I actually, that very pointy part there, just bear with me. That part, pointy part there should be over a bit more. So I'm just going to go in with the coal grey one and bring it over there. That's it, and then it goes, and then we've got that part and that part's together. Right. Okay, so that bit, I'm just going to see if that's working. Oh,